Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, and also welcome you all. I'm happy that there are people who want to listen to me to start with, and thank you, Iranki, for organizing this. So let me get straight into what I have heard other presentations. I have absorbed some quite well and some not so well. So my own take is a little different, and so first is about my journey and not
Can you make
briefly.
it into presentation mode? It will be bigger for us.
Okay, okay, I get that. Is it okay now?
Not yet.
If you click the
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
So I was born in a town called Kakinada and brought up mainly in small coastal towns. And when I joined IIT, I was at Tadepalligudem because my father had a transferable job. And many of you might not have heard of this name. It is a small place on the coastal area of Andhra Pradesh, and hardly anything to boast about. So, and in fact, I studied in Telugu medium. So, English medium, I got the exposure of English medium for the first time in IIT Madras. Okay. So, in a small town, you are made to feel, because I used to come class first. So, when I entered IIT, I thought I was a very smart guy. I was probably a hero of the place. And then when I reached IIT, it was a big shock. So there were so many smarter guys, people who could speak English, like they were born in England, and also culturally, they were talking about the schools and colleges of very high this thing and all that. It punctured the pride I had. You see what happens in small towns, which I notice now in all the places now, like the social media. You are boosted up by your friends and relatives uh, to say that you are the best guy and things like that. And it is a big I don't know how many people can understand that, but it is a very big hit to me. So when I then that caused a lot of, on top of it we had this very intensive first term. So I was quite disoriented and confused on the inside. But luckily for me, and luck played, I'll tell you about luck in a short way, in a short while. So I was actually didn't pay that much attention to my course, to be very frank. I was wanting to get a job, get a grade, get a job, and get into. I thought job would be a safe place to be in. So finally, I got a job, and then surprisingly, I did very well, and my confidence was somewhat restored. So, but this thing about trying to be back, to be on top, that is something that was there with me for a long time. I wanted to be. Uh, I aimed at a very high position and a lot of wealth right from the day beginning of my job. So after 6 years, I realized I didn't go abroad like many people did. So after 6 years, I realized that in India, engineering career is not a very rewarding career in terms of my ambition. So I left MBA and I joined, and I was already married and I had a child and enough savings to just tide over my MBA. So I took up the MBA program, and in those days, the MBA program at IIM Bangalore, I budgeted about 20,000 rupees, which was a very large amount in those days. I'm sure you know that. I don't have to explain that. So I just had about 20,000, and then and then I was throughout my MBA program. Again, I did very well in MBA program. I came first in the first year, and second in the second year, second or third in the second year. I got a scholarship, merit scholarship as well, first time. So But inside, what has happened is that, when I took these decisions, later on, I read a lot of books about self-help books and all that. Those guys, they were making decisions as if, it's like deciding to climb Everest, and very confidently they would make the decision.
எல்லாரும் மியூட் பண்ணிட்டேன் இல்லைன்னா எல்லாரும் கேட்டுட்டு இருப்போம்.
Whereas, whereas I can tell you that, I took those decisions with a lot of nervousness, and I was no hero when I took those decisions. I took them because I was ambitious, and then most of the risks I took. I mean, many people criticized me for going for an MBA program with a family, but I took them. Then luckily they paid. The risks paid. So that is when I realized that, you need a lot of luck in life. Okay. I never underestimate luck, even today, about anything that I do. But I believe, I think it's like pasture, you have to be ready for luck. You have to take decisions. So, but that is how my some risks paid. Okay. So next one, before I say what I have learned and what I want to do now at this stage of my life, I just want to tell you one thing, that in my life, in the last 10 years, I internalized. Before that also, I knew that we are all very different. For example, what I'm noticing is that we offer a kind of an opinion or a philosophy or even a health tip, but we assume that there is the normal or an average person around there, and he conforms to this opinion or theory or a tip. Okay, but having taught last 10 years at IIT Hyderabad and other places, so I've realized that I'm addressing an average person, but there is no average person there. Either there are people who are brighter or better than the person that I'm addressing, or they are not so bright or not so good as the average person I'm addressing. So what I noticed is that, the following discussion that I'll make, I'm sure that, it may not apply to any one of you, but definitely it applies to me, because we all have our unique journeys. And that is one thing in any philosophy I have noticed, is that, there is no tailoring, or there is no recognition of the fact that every person is unique. So I just want to put that caveat before I say anything. So then the other revelation that I have had in the last so many years after following an aggressive career and all, is that now we have more wealth, better health, both in quality and in terms of living, and less violence, and even more religion and more meditation. But we seem to be unhappy. We seem to have more anxiety and more fears. So even religion and so many, I mean, how do I know that there is so much anxiety, more fear and all that? Is basically, you can see for yourself, there is so much out there trying to tell you that, you have to reduce your anxiety, reduce your fear, or increase your awareness, all those things. So even religions have not helped that much, it seems. I don't know. So why is that happening? So because that, we say we believe in happiness, but we pursue money, power, and luxury, which has happened with me also. On one side, I was thinking that, I should be happy, I should be simple, but I'm pursuing money, power, and luxury throughout my active life. We also say that we don't believe in social divisions, but practice religion, caste, sectarian, everything. And we also show them in attire, symbol, and prefixes and suffixes. So we believe in relationships, but our relationships seem to be more for selfish motives, or for emotional emptiness, or to fill our emotional emptiness. So we preach ridding of ego, but it is rampant everywhere. Even in a seating arrangement in a public meeting, you are told, go to a temple, you are told, where to sit, which row you occupy. This is reserved, that is not reserved. So what I'm noticing is that this world, I'm not complaining, but this world, what our parents initially in the first few years told us is, is a very nice utopian world. But then later on, they tell us that, this is not so nice. You have to be cunning and clever. Cunning may not be the right word. You have to manage the world. Okay. So there is a lot of confusion and a lot of unhappiness. So where do that get me? So I have decided, in the last so many years that this world is going to be what it is. It is not going to be, I accept the world as it is. After a lot of cursing and fighting, I had done that. It is uncertain, chance based. It is hypocritical and bad as well as good. Maybe because, because a lot of people here I don't know whether they believe in evolution. I believe in evolution. So as we rolled along, we have accumulated the good and the bad in large quantum from our predecessors. Okay. So I also don't believe, one more thing I don't believe is that, like some people are advocating that we must self-actualize ourselves and we must detach ourselves. Somehow I'm not able to come to terms with that. I don't believe that, we can exist without the group, without the family, without the society and the world and the environment. We are, as I see, is part of the self as well as part of this group. So we have to live in this group as a whole, and I don't believe we can. I mean, I can't think of myself withdrawing to a shell. So that I also so I also realized I can't erase or run away from the bad or negatives or the uncertainty of this world. So at this stage, I feel that what gives me motivation is that there is still a lot of scope for doing good things to improve around me, around the group as well as the environment. So they are actually the fact that you can do something good is what is giving me kind of a meaning to my life. So as I already said, I believe each one has to live his journey. So I don't have any heroes. So I don't want to imitate anybody. No conformity for me on caste, religion, language, or even relatives. And I also try to avoid looking too much ahead of my life and too much like, what happens beyond death. Because to an extent, I feel that, once we lived our life, we don't know what will happen. Death is anybody's, post death, it is a conjecture for everybody. But so I don't want to pay too much attention to that. Similarly, I don't want to look back also too much. I'm not very fond of thinking about my past life or, past history and things like that. Lastly, I must say that, while I listen to all the people, I don't have a philosophy cast in stone, but, I want to learn and change. And I have changed, I have learned quite a bit from people like Bhaskar, with whom I closely interact. And I also think that, we have to consider the changes that are happening in human societal and thinking. Because again, I want to be connected to my children, my younger generation, their aspirations and all that. And any philosophy that ignores the advances that we have in our science, sociology, etc., is actually not for me. I like to read the latest. See, I like to read the latest edition of ideas, not the first edition of the idea, just because it was written some 2000 years back. Okay? Anything? Any questions?
I think you complete, Srinagesh. I think there are a lot of points you're raising. I'm sure people want to discuss with you.
So what do I, the thing is that the last slide I come to is how do I live my remaining life, So we are all now sort of, decided to, we have now moved away from our active lives. So I'm sort of in the unique position of I don't have to compromise for my survival, growth, or conform, and I don't need to conform just say for the sake of conformity because I've retired and I've realized also. Okay. So now I've built up and I'm building up a value system and I try to live by that value system and which I of course evaluate and I try to live by that. It of course changes into account, taking into account the reality and the ideas that I get from other people and the ideas that I read. I also want to be active and contributing, and I don't want to not for material wealth or position or for achievement or I want to do incrementally small things. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm running a foundation with a person who is so dedicated. I can't believe. I mean, I would never have been so dedicated like him to the poor people. So if I can't do that, at least I'll help him do that. So I'm helping him run the foundation, and also I still am confused about whether I should directly donate a major part of my savings, or I should work. I should use the savings to work because as you know, my daughter is quite settled and my son-in-law also is quite settled. So they keep saying that they don't need my money. So I have to find other uses for my money, and so I'm still confused, as I said in one of the debating points on our group. I'm also an active. I'm trying to be. I'm an active volunteer. I hold in a volunteer positions wherever I can. Like I'm managing our association here, our welfare association, and also I also but while managing or while doing anything, I don't, as I said repeatedly that, I don't take a position just for I don't compromise for the sake of compromise. I had a lot of setbacks because of this problem, actually. And, but that's okay. That's the way I live. So now what I do is most of the time, I actually, in addition to just accepting, I embrace doubt, negativity, unknowns, and all that. And knowing that absolutes like happiness, peace, selfishness, etc., are going to be there, but selflessness and all. But pursuing them is what I feel is what I'm going to do rest of my life. So, in essence, what I'm trying to do is that instead of thinking of big things, I like to do small things. Like, in our neighborhood, I try to help. Okay. In our, because you see, when I realize when I have a big target, then I'm not so attached to the target, then it's as good as it's not doing anything. So let me do smaller things. So right now, my philosophy in summary is I've used a lot of words, but pardon me for so many words. But in the end, what I'm trying to do is do little things here rest of my life and be part of the group, and also do not do something because it is convenient or it is convenient to be part of the group or accepted by the group, and basically try to do a little try to see that your immediate environment and yourself are a little better every day. That's in a sense what I'm trying to convey. So that's the end.
The end.
Thanks, Srinagesh. I think maybe we can you can stop sharing and we can discuss the points that you raised.
Just 1 second. Stop share. Okay.
Yeah, great. I think it's a very, I don't want to put any name to what your philosophy or your ideas are. I think I'm sure wiser people here may take a guess. But basically, I mean, coming back to one of the point that you said about luck. So what is your understanding of luck, and can you
See, the
talk
thing
about
is that,
it?
yeah,
Can you talk about the luck?
let me say, a lot of people, for me, the luck is this, that, you take a decision to do, there are two roads to take. Okay. You do some analysis, this path is better, that path is not so good and all that, with the available information. But the information is, you don't know what the future, the information about the future, you never have a lot of information about the future, right? Then you take, and it comes your way. For example, I'll tell you, when I joined GMR Group, okay, I was not knowing that I would become the COO or CEO of the airport. The airport, in one meeting, when I joined, I was basically joined as a senior vice president in power division. But because there was a meeting with the chief minister, and then because there were so many meetings earlier with the chief minister, the GM Rao and his son, and his both of them did not want to go. They sent me and another person. Okay, the chief minister was so much annoyed actually that the two of us went and GM Rao did not come. So he delegated it to his principal secretary, and then in that meeting we decided the airport project was closed because he was, so a decision. It's a luck. It is definitely a lot of luck. And then after that, I never looked back on that. Then I, of course, but the decision to join private equity fund, again, I took a lot of analysis and joined there, but it didn't work out the way I expected it. Although I did more analysis, and I did more, I weighed, because I thought, I would be an entrepreneur. I would give my a little bit of money and a lot of sweat equity and all that, but it didn't pay off. So both decisions I took. One luck came my way, another luck did not come my way.
Great. Okay, now I think it's open forum. People want to react to what Srinagesh said or comment.
See, another thing, like I'll tell you, all of us, some of us have been lucky to have good gene pool, right? Some are born healthy, and some are not. So I have seen people, when I go and see some people in the foundation when I was when I was actively participating. Now we are less active because our contributions came down. So I found that there are people, and they were one fellow was working on the ground floor, okay, and a plate fell on his hand. That plate was that plate, a steel plate. What I mean is a steel plate. And imagine that steel plate, normally it should have fallen flat like this because of the aerodynamics. But unfortunately for him, it fell vertically on his hand. The hand got severed. Okay. But luckily for him, there was this Tata Foundation people, they have got informers. So luckily for him, there was an informer in that group who informed the Tata Spring elderly, the Tata Foundation in Hyderabad here in Somajiguda. So the Tata people called my friend who was who is running the foundation to help him. So we got an ambulance, we got a hand specialist, hand what do you call hand? He is a specialist in hand surgery. That surgeon was also available. So we rushed all these people, and care hospital gave us the operation theater for free, and his hand was attached. It was put in an ice box. The police helped us move the person and the hand quite fast, and then we reached the operation theater, and that surgeon attached it. He recovered 70%.
Wow.
So if he had lost his hand, he was telling us, see, once you lose a hand at that level for a poor person, he has no choice except to commit suicide
Wow.
because he can't drive, he can't do anything. He's a burden for the family. People don't treat him. People don't treat him well. So that's luck for him. Bad luck is that the plate fell on his hand, and plate fell vertically on his hand. The good luck is that there was a person there who informed the foundation.
Yeah. And
And his
anyone
good luck
wants
is that
to,
even
yeah.
if the surgeon was in a surgery room, what would happen? So I have a lot of. That's why I think, one of the things I've learned is empathize with other people, their condition.
So,
Yes.
so can you talk about some of the small things you do? I know you said you work at the foundation in retired life. How did you get into that foundation and some of the other things that you do? Just curious, that's all.
So this is how it happened. See, I was working. I was elected as the president of I am Bangalore Alumni Association Hyderabad chapter.
I
Okay.
see.
So I introduced a thing called monthly masti. That is every month on second Saturday, or I think it was second Saturday. I said, let us meet. Okay. Whether it's four people, whether it's six people. So I started meeting people.
Mm.
So when I started meeting people, I found this doctor who worked in Italy and also in Singapore, but came back and dedicated his life for people for these poor people. He's an
Wow.
orthopedician from Manipal Medical School and then Jipmar.
Okay.
So I found him. It's a uh, it's very hard to find such selfless people. A lot of people say they are selfless, but
But they are.
they have a lot of reasons behind it. But this
Mhm.
guy is really selfless. From our foundation, he takes only 20,000 rupees,
Wow.
and he drives a scooter.
Wow.
He could have had a fantastic lifestyle, given that he worked in Italy and Singapore.
Mm.
So I was immediately drawn to him, and then I said, I can't do this kind of things. At least let me help him.
Mm.
To be very frank, the intention to help people and actually helping people, they are two different things, in my opinion. Say your neighbor is sick, intention to help him is there, but really taking out your car and showing an initiative to put him in the car and take him to the hospital, waiting there, meeting the doctors, I think the number gets reduced very much.
Agree.
1,000 people with intention, there will be only 15, but maybe 20 people with actual wanting to do.
Yep. That's very true, what you just said. It takes courage and, maybe some amount of, maybe courage and confidence to step out and actually do the helping. Yeah. It's easy to promise, but tough to deliver.
That
And I
is
think
why,
it's as difficult to accept help.
huh?
It's almost as difficult to accept help.
It is as but accepting help, Vivi, I found that if you are in a distress situation, for example, the a neighbor of mine here, very high blood pressure, and he had a fall. Okay, so uh, so it's when you are in a distress situation, you don't
Yeah,
even think whether you should take help or not. You simply accept whatever other people are doing.
Yep.
that is true.
Hmm. You are talking about help when you are actually doing your faculties are in you are in full control of your faculties, and you can still manage your movement and all that. But if you are not in that position, then you accept. I've seen my mother also. She was not expressing any opinion. When I take her to the doctor, she would come along. When I put her in we put her in a chair, she will simply sit in that. She would simply sit in that chair. That's all. So that you don't make that decision at that point of time. At least I've seen some people. I
Right.
think we are all different. Yes, Bhaskar, you wanted to ask.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you, you were talking about small improvements around you, and I was wondering if those small improvements or big improvements you are directing towards yourself as well.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that
If
last.
you are, you spoke about making small changes on a day-to-day basis around you, and I'm asking about small changes or improvements towards you, inside you, or about yourself.
You are right, absolutely. See, thing is that your point is very valid. First, I have to improve myself. Okay, so yes, I'm trying. You know, it is not an easy job. Set in a lot of what do you call uh, culturally and um, um, upbringing wise. Believe me, I'm trying, and I think I have to do I keep taking a survey from my wife and my daughter because other people don't know. My wife grudgingly acknowledges that I've improved a little bit in the last 5 years. My
At least a little bit. That's some credit.
my daughter is more generous.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Daughters are kind. Yeah.
So well said, if I may. Yeah. Srinagesh, thank you. Thank you for everything that you have said. What I've gathered is, and I'm trying to sort of, make a statement, and I want you to reflect on it. It appears that luck evens out in life. Okay. This is the first point. My second point is to come in. I mean, you kept saying many times little things, right? I mean, to me, I don't think the size of what we do matters. But from what I've heard, the impact of what you do is quite big.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just want you, that's just a reflection on what you said. But the first point, luck evens out in life. What do you think?
Well, the very definition of luck is that, that see, it doesn't happen to everybody, but if you look around your life, some people seem to have many events which are, on the whole, favor them to be better off than worse off. So I don't think luck. Yes, for majority of the people, luck evens out, but there are some always who do well. So let me take the case of a stock market. Okay, now if you really look at it, about 10%, about all surveys and all analysis shows that about 5% people do very well. About 95% people, they don't do well.
That's
Okay.
a fact. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's true, Ken.
That's good. That's good to know that statistic.
Yes. Even as recently
It's a
as
fact.
our SEBI, which is corresponding to SEC in the US, they have put out statistics to show that traders, only 5% of the traders make money, and only about 10% of the investors make money. Rest just, and most of the people pay 30 to 35% of their the money they have put on the table as taxes to the government, taxes and fees and brokerages and all to the government and various agencies. So actually they are getting fatter at the expense of all these people. Coming back to the point that that shows, similarly I feel that they're like even heroes, I'm skeptical about these heroes. Okay. Having been a hero in a small place myself.
Really? Okay. Okay. I thought movies,
No, no, not that kind of hero.
Okay.
Okay. So they always say Warren Buffett is a great fellow, or Elon Musk is a great fellow and all that. But some thousand other fellows have fallen by the wayside. So any one of them could have been a hero. And it's just that he's statistically, he has come out on the top, and people are building a lot of stories about him, how he made his first investment with $200 and how he became great and all that. We have this feeling that, some people are sort of made heroes right from the day one. At least I have not found it myself. And the decisions I have made, I have not made like the way they talk about Warren Buffett or Elon Musk, with such great clarity of thought and great confidence, they made those decisions. I have not made such decisions. I have had a lot of nervousness and very little information many times when I made the decisions. Even when we were making those decisions, important decisions about the airport, it was not so easy to make. We didn't have information because GM Rao was insistent that we should have Taj Mahal like airport here. I was insistent that we should have a modern airport. So just to let you know. So finally it worked out, so it's okay. If it didn't work out, GM Rao would have come after me.
Of course, of course. No, if I may, Ranki, a corollary question. Okay. Let's say in one field, I probably agree more with you, like the stock market example. Many have bad luck, only few have good luck. But maybe, in different fields, you may have bad luck in one field, but it gets compensated by good luck in something else in life. How about that?
Well, maybe. But when I look at our Hyderabad and see Jubilee Hills versus many other localities, I find still, there is that collection of people. Are these people only because of their hard work? I don't know. It's a point of view. I agree.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes.
If
Hi.
nobody, no, yeah.
Go ahead,
Sarathan,
Devi.
yeah. See, this question of luck, the vernacular term for luck is adrishta, that
Correct.
which is not seen, right? So that is, it actually encompasses something much more than that. At the individual level, as Kamesh said, I honestly don't think it really averages out, because like to use an physics example, one may be in phase. When you are lucky, if it is in phase, you get a very huge benefit. And if luck is out of phase with your other things, even though luck favors you, you still will not reap the benefit. So that is fundamentally there. And to be honest, in any zero-sum game like stock market, the luck will favor very, very few. And stock market is actually a negative-sum game. That's a different issue. In fact, I once got into an argument with economist, and while traveling between Madras and Bombay, I told him, look, I don't believe in stock market because to succeed, there must be somebody who must fail if I am to succeed. So that is making me uncomfortable. He said, no, 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 this, that. I told him, can you tell me how you really create wealth? I have never received a good reply from any economist. How you create wealth. And that to me is is the limitation that is imposed on all of us. We really don't, we transform wealth. Maybe utilitarian value wise, it might increase in a marginal way. I really don't know whether we really create wealth or not. And that realization uh, came to me when I was in late 40s, and thereafter I became little less concerned, to be honest, about success and failure.
I guess I
And
agree on the trading perspective that it's zero sum or even minorly negative sum because of the friction cost of transaction and so on. But that is only one aspect of a stock market, right? The stock market is basically means for entrepreneurs to raise capital. And if you are a long-term investor in a business that is sound, that has the opportunity in the market that grows, so you become wealthy by participating in that upside. It's not a trading benefit at that time. It's more that you have found a means to deploy your capital and you get returns above you get above average returns and so on. So it builds in that manner. And there I don't see it as much as if it is a zero sum game because it is an expanding pie. Now, yeah, you could say there's environmental degradation or there could be other costs, but that doesn't always have to be the case. Anyway, I will pause.
Yeah, I think we'll move on to other topics. I think this is an equally interesting topic about stock markets and wealth.
Pardon me, I've given it as an example, but that I didn't intend it to be the to to be the, as you said, to be an example. Maybe it is not a correct example for luck.
Right.
But in general, somehow I've come to believe that, I don't know about other people. I'm sort of, in general, I come to a lot of people when they say it's all because of me. I mean, there are some of these heroes you keep hearing, bosses in my in the companies that I worked. They keep saying that it's all because of me, my hard work, my my intelligence, my initiative, my aggressiveness, my dynamism. Then I get put off by that.
agreed, agreed.
Yeah,
Because,
that's what I was thinking. Luck and I don't have an answer, but I was just thinking about luck and ego, or a luck and a feeling of self-control that you control something, and how that, yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer, but it feels like there is a close association with a feeling of self-control, which is probably a myth anyway to begin with.
No,
Yeah.
Bhaskar, actually, luck probably is the exact opposite of self-control. It's
Adrish,
adrishta. It's which is unseen, which you don't control at all, which controls you in a sense. So
Yeah, I agree. But that also means if somebody says that they're very lucky, implicitly they're also saying that they got a lot of control otherwise. That means they exercised a lot of control, and despite that, or in addition to that, they got luck, for example, or the other way around, that they controlled, they analyzed, they spreadsheeted everything, and they took a decision and something else happened. So that's what I was saying, that at the heart of it, as a positive way or a negative way, it feels to me that there is that self-control, an imagination of control you have over destiny. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud.
no, I don't know how many are familiar with Tirukural. There is one interesting Tirukural which has given rise to controversies actually. don't ask what is the product of being, what shall I say, conforming to dharma. Look at the one who rides the palanquin and look at the one who bears the palanquin. Arata Ridavana Venda, Sivahe Purutanodu Urdanidai. Okay, that's the dichotomy that built. Of course, there are people who say, don't ask this question. This question should never be asked, is what leftists will interpret the Kural as. Rightists will obviously give the more mundane interpretation. Be that as it may, the thing is, it is not, it is in a sense, crying out loud that you are not in control. When you say luck didn't favor him, or his time has not come, or so on. It's basically crying out for some kind of empathetic response from fellow human beings.
But you need to maintain an illusion of control, right?
Exactly, illusion.
Don't you need to maintain? I mean, if you accept that there is zero control, then really there is very little incentive to put one foot in front of the other.
Well,
that is why I said, we must use the definition Louis Pasteur is used. Luck helps those people who are ready for it.
Right. Okay.
So thing is that we have to that's a fun part of life, right? If everything was set like y equals mx plus c to what is the fun in life then?
Yeah.
But I know at least two cases where there is a dark cloud perennially on top of their heads.
Okay. What are those two cases?
On balance, the luck is nowhere near on balance.
There is no luck, you mean?
I mean, at least two individuals cases I know where the law of averages is clearly not playing out, at least even in an intermediate term, So anyway.
Outliers on the left field.
People.
So I mean, I want to bring the attention back, to the fact that.
Yeah. Okay. Taratam, I have a very basic question from what you are this one. What kind of risk awareness you had when you made the choice to go to MBA?
To go to
MBA, leaving the job, leaving the comfort zone of a job to go to out in the unknown yonder. What kind of a risk appreciation you had?
Well, this is how it. See, I had about the total. I did some analysis. First of all, I had about 20,000 rupees. Okay, just to tide over the MBA, and then I requested my father-in-law to take care of my wife and the child. Luckily for me, I mean, sorry, I don't want to use too much of the word luck. My father-in-law agreed to take care of my wife and my child. And my father's, then I weighed the options about, whether I'll be better off doing an MBA or continuing in this. I don't think I did a very serious analysis to tell you the truth. I just thought that, MBA would be better in the long run than engineering because I was stuck in a sort of a production job where I saw that, even the general manager was turning the valves. So I decided that, the works manager was also turning the valves. So I decided that, that is something that doesn't suit me for a long career. So on the balance, I said, okay, let me do MBA, take the risk of doing an MBA. So a lot of people discouraged me, including when I went for my internship in the first year. The boss I had, while I was doing the internship. He said, "You're doing it after 6 years with a family. What if you don't get a job?" Then I didn't know what to say. You know, then my knees shook, and then I didn't have sleep for a night. Then I was wondering what to do. So then I said, okay, having completed 1 year, let me complete another year. There are a lot of people who will tell you that how things don't work. So that is one of the challenges in life.
And I
I think
think
we have 5 minutes left. So now there are three of the people who have not spoken: Ashok, Srini, and Shiva. Do you want to say anything, or you want the batsman to continue batting?
but before they say
I'm
anything,
good at hearing, so I'll continue to hear.
Okay. No, I want to
And
ensure that you
listen.
are hearing. Okay, good.
Yes, I am, and thank you for verifying. I'm listening to every word that is being spoken. Uh, it was really good of you to organize all this. And Srinagesh, thank you so much for sharing. Please continue.
Ashok, you want to say anything? Ashok, are you there or
Srinivas is like the class teacher who wants to see that every student speak.
I
And
am
truly,
preparing
that's
to be
nice
a
of him.
teacher, Srinagesh. I think I'll come to you for some tips.
I'm going to jump in. The last point that you made, especially when you are with a family, you are in the middle of your MBA, and the person you are talking to as a intern manager for an intern says, "What will happen if you don't get a job?" That's really something that kind of puts a fear of God, if you will, or the fear of the future in you. And I think you made the right decision to continue. Now, that said, uh, you didn't give a synopsis of your career after we all left IIT. I know that you mentioned GMR, so I don't know if you and BKK worked together at any point in your careers. Give a brief kind of a timeline what you did.
Well, after doing MBA, I joined. See, the job situation was not very bright. So
Mm.
I chose, I joined National Thermal Power Corporation, a government company, in their international finance and corporate planning department. So I worked for, you remember this was just to recall, this was a pre-liberalization days. Okay.
Okay.
So there was this, we had a license permit, Raj, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So then luck came for me in a sense that PV Narasimha Rao became the prime minister and he liberalized. So then the power sector was liberalized. So I took the first opportunity to jump out of NTPC and join ABB Financial Services. And there, over 7, 8 years, I climbed up the ladder and became the head for India for ABB Financial Services. Then ABB Financial Services was hit by a recession there was a scandal there in ABB as a company, and there was a new boss at ABB. This is by the way, it is a Swedish
Yes, yeah,
Swiss
Bromberg.
company, huge conglomerate. So there was a scandal, and that ABB collapsed. So then they sold out ABB Financial Services, and ABB Financial Services in India was also closed. So I had to look around for a job. Then I got a job with GMR as I joined the the power division of the power plant investment division of GMR. So there were all these ups and downs. So if it were not for the closure of ABB Financial Services, I wouldn't have been in GMR. If it were not for liberalization by PV Narasimha Rao, I would have been still probably, I would have climbed one ladder after another ladder in ABB, in NTPC and retired there, like most people do, as executive director or general manager or whatever. I used to call it as climbing up the ladder in a methodical fashion because there was not much reward for merit and all that in NTPC. So there were a lot of ups and downs in my life. Not that.
Yeah, thanks for that. I always wondered how you knew so many things about so many industries. Now I see your career has, in some ways been part of the learning process also. So thanks.
Yes, that is how, yeah.
Okay, thank you all. I think we have hit the time limit. And unless someone wants to have any question further to Srinagesh, otherwise we can always do the chatting. Anyone else wants to say anything? And then Srinagesh can conclude the session.
Now, I just wanted to ask one thing. Where does Viti Waters come in your life?
I beg your pardon? What did you say?
Kamesh, can you repeat? I think we lost him.
Yeah. I just want to say, Srinagesh, very nice presentation, very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Yes, thank you very much.
should I conclude
It's,
now, Srinivas?
Yeah, you conclude. I think Kamesh will take his question on the chat.
So, thank you all for listening to me. So, I already, whatever I have to say, I've said. So, as I said, this is a journey like every one of us. It is a unique journey, and maybe there is something that we learn from each other in these talks. So, thank you for listening to me.
Thanks, Dalasam.
thank you. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Srinagesh.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
I think Ashok is still on.